Okay, so mayong buntag. Today we are going to discuss the basics of descriptive statistics. But before we start, let me ask you this question. If you are tasked to describe or to make a chart or table for your data, how will you decide if you're going to choose a bar chart, pie chart, histogram, Pareto chart, or scatter plot? So this video, we're going to help you decide what tools or tables or charts you're going to use. So see you. So welcome. In basic business statistics, there are two major branches. We have descriptive statistics and we have inferential statistics. In descriptive statistics, we will only describe the data, simply describing the data. In inferential statistics, using the sample that we gathered, we will now try to infer the characteristics of the population. We will try to predict the characteristic of the population. Okay, but that is not the topic for this video. So if you want to know more about the difference between inferential and descriptive statistics, please click the link above here. Okay, so let's start. Before we can decide kung anong tools ang gamitin natin or charts or tables ang gamitin natin, we have to understand first the characteristics of our data. So yung data ba natin categorical or numerical? Okay? By definition, categorical variables, also known as qualitative variables, have values that can only be placed in categories. For example, a certain respondent can be categorized as male or female, or freshman, sophomore, or junior or senior. Categorization. The numerical variables naman are also known as quantitative variables, have values that can represent quantities. For example, the common variables, height, the weight, that are observed variables, and some latent variables are the satisfaction, customer satisfaction, and so on and so forth. When we will decide what type of charts or tables, this flow chart will help us understand or decide what tools, what chart or tables that we're going to use. For example, the type of data here is categorical. So after the categorical data, you have to ask yourself, how many or what is the number of variables in the study? So if you have one variable in the study, or if you have two variables in the study, so if you have one variable, in order to summarize the data, you're going to use the summary table. Okay, if you have two variables here, you're going to use the contingency table. Okay, let's have some examples here. One variable, for example, you have gender. Gender is one variable, but inside the gender, there are items inside the gender, for example, male or female. Okay, we will have a thorough discussion on that and when we have our example. So, types of charts. So, for example, if you have categorical variable, you have only one number of variables, and then for the tables, you're going to use the summary table, and then if you're going to describe it or to make a graph for it, you're going to use this one, the bar chart, pie chart, and Pareto chart. Okay? So, if you have two variables, two categorical variables, the chart that you're going to use is the side-by-side chart. Okay, so this flow chart will help us decide what type of chart are we going to use based on the type of data that we have in our study. Okay, so let's proceed to the next. Okay, so what if you have a numerical type of data? So same again, we have to decide the number of variables. You have one or two variables, and then the type of table for one variable, you can use the ordered array. The ordered array is just you have to arrange your data in ascending order or descending order. Again, and then you can use the frequency distribution, and then you can use the cumulative distribution. If you have two variables, if you have two numerical variables, you're going to use a scatter plot for the graph or the time series data if the other variable is in time, for example, year, month, or minutes or hours. Okay, so if you have one variable and then you use the ordered array, you're going to use the stem and leaf display. And then if you use the frequency distribution, we're going to use the histogram, polygon, or odd-type. Okay, so that is how we decide. So in order to appreciate the beauty of these tools, we're going to use a certain study. Okay. So for example, this is the survey questionnaire. So this survey questionnaire can be found in the book of Berenson. Okay. So for example, what is your age? What is your gender, male or female? And then what is your age as of the last birthday, so on and so forth. Okay. So if you want to answer that question, let's start first with what is gender. So gender, if we're going to take a look at our Dorby, gender natin, what type of data do we have for our gender? Is it categorical or numerical? So gender can be classified as categorical, male or female. So in this particular example here, the number of variables, how many number of variables do we have? 1 or 2? Guys, do not be confused. In this particular example here, we only have one variable. So if we're going to take a look at the Excel file here, the gender, for example, this gender here. So the gender here, male, female. So do not be confused. In this particular item here, we only have one variable, the gender. Okay, but inside the gender, we have two items. We have the male and the female. But generally, we only have one variable in the particular item. So one variable, we have one variable, categorical variable, one variable, and then we can use the summary table, the bar chart, pie chart, Pareto chart. Okay, how are we going to do that in Excel? Okay, so the first thing that we have to do is we have to highlight the data and make sure to include this header here. So click. Okay, and then just go to insert and then pivot table, and then make sure to create a new worksheet and then just press OK. So if we want to analyze the genders, you just have to drag the gender here in the rows. So the gender is already here, the female and male. And then you have to drag again the gender to the values, and then make sure that the label here is count of gender. So that's what we can see in our pivot table. We have 34 females and then we have 28 males. Okay, so to graph this one, we can use the vertical bar chart or bar chart, and then or a pie chart. So let's try how we're going to do that. So you go to analyze and then the pivot chart, and then you can use the recommended chart. You just press OK. Okay, so that's your bar chart. So if you want to have a pie chart, so you just have to go click this portion here, and then you go to analyze and then pivot chart, and then the pie chart. Okay, so as simple as that. Okay, so if we're going to analyze again another variable, so let's say a numerical variable or age, how we're going to do that? So you have to drag the age again to rows, and then drag again the age on the values. Okay, but we have to be very careful here. Take note that the values is sum of age, and we don't want that one. We only want to count the number of respondents who are 18 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old, so on and so forth. So we have to click the small triangle here, and then the value field settings, and then we have to change the sum to count. So count of age. So just press OK, and then voila. Okay, so we have one respondent who is 18 years old, 5 respondents for 19, so on and so forth. Yeah, so you can insert a new column here for the new for the percentage of each class, but we will not do that here. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to graph the age, to create a chart for age. So you go to the pivot chart, and then we can simply use the recommended chart. Okay, but it doesn't look like a histogram, so you have to go to design and then quick layout, and then just press this one. But we don't have, we cannot see the lines, the borders. So how to add the borders? So you go to format and then format selection, and then make sure to click on this one, and then the border, a solid line, and then we change the color to black. Okay, just close that one, and then yeah. So we have now our histogram for our age. Okay, so let's try another variable here. So you can delete that one, then just click here and then uncheck that one. So what if we want to have a cross tabulation? We want to have two categorical variables. So for example, we will have the class as a major. So we can put one of the variable in the rows, and then we can put the another variable in the columns. Okay, so let's try. So let's say the major, we will put the major in the rows, and then we will put the class at the columns. Okay, and then we will analyze how many of these students who are junior, senior, sophomore belongs to a particular major. Okay, so we can drag the ID here, and then not sum of ID. We have to change that one to count of ID, and then just press OK. So simple as that. So this is what we call a contingency table, or other books will call this one as cross tabulation between major and then your class. Okay, so let's do the side-by-side chart, which is the corresponding chart for this particular table. So you go to analyze and then pivot chart and just press OK. Okay, so simple as that. So if you want again to have or to graph two numerical variables, let's say for example the age and then the salary or the GPA, so the corresponding graph or chart is a time series plot or a scatter plot. Okay, so since we don't have time variable here, so we are going to use the scatter plot. So click for the age and then control on your keyboard and then click GPA. Okay, and then you go to insert and then recommended charts. Then just press OK. Okay, so if you have some questions or clarifications, please comment down below the video and I will try to answer your questions as soon as I can. So good luck and God bless.